Hi, welcome to Smith and Grezzy. We've brought in our regular guest, Duncan Beckley MBE, who's coming to talk about his ideas for percussion. But first, we'd like to have a chat about our last podcast, which was called Finals Conundrum. Sandy, just give us an overview of what we discussed on that.
Well, this is a sort of short and sweet podcast we're going to do tonight, just to remind people that on Monday the 25th of November, there will be a meeting of representatives from the 8 regional areas to discuss any concerns or ideas that are brought to them by their own member bands, and to propose to Capital Promotions any changes or ideas which the member bands might have about these issues. Now, it seems to me that judging from our emails and our message boxes and things and the people we've been talking to, that there are 2 main topics of discussion that are being discussed to the people that are writing into us or that we're talking to. One of them is the 10/8 proposal for the Royal Albert Hall. So this all came about because of the reduction in pre-qualifiers for the Albert Hall. The second thing that a lot of people seem to be contacting us about and talking amongst themselves is about percussion and what the solutions may be to address some of the issues that seem to be being caused by percussion in these test species. Okay. So I'll just briefly, the 10/8 proposal, I don't want to overdo this because we've already done a big podcast. Ewan Fox has already done an article on 4 Bars Rest website outlining all this. So everybody should know how it works. The proposal is that the top 10 bands from the national finals at the Albert Hall are invited back for the next year's contest, and that only the winners from the 8 regions then are selected to go, which would give you a total of 18 bands. At the moment, it stands at one more than that, I think. This was to try and up the quality, which I think it can be proven from the statistics that that's exactly what would happen. There are strong areas and there are weak areas. No matter how you dress it up, the stats speak for themselves. So the 10/8 proposal does not favour or penalise any geographical area, but just rewards success at a national level based purely on merit. I don't know how people can argue with that. You're not stopping any band anywhere in the country going to the Albert Hall or going back to the Albert Hall as one of the quality bands. We are trying to up the quality of this contest. So that almost speaks for itself. I don't know if we need to add anything to that. It's a proposal that's well known.
Sandy, this was brought about because at the last meeting, I believe it was sometime last May, they knocked it down from 4 pre-qualifying bands down to 3. And there was a massive outcry on social media. I'm not saying that people need to agree with the 10/8. They might do, in which case get onto your area representative. But they might also want to get the thing put back to 4 pre-qualifiers. It's up to them which they want. But we've been through the 10/8 proposal in great depth with Ewan. Have a listen to our previous podcast, which is the Finals Conundrum, if you need any more information. Now, I keep seeing loads of people, and I mean loads of people, on social media moaning and moaning and moaning. And we now need solutions. All this podcast is about, really, is to remind people to get onto their area reps and put down their true feelings so that they can be discussed. The area reps will not go on Facebook to get opinions from people. End of. They're only interested in the emails that are sent into them. And I quite agree with it.
It's been drilled home to us time and again that if you want to have change, you have to go through this channel. You have to talk to your area secretary, propose something, get it discussed when the 8 secretaries meet, which is going to be Monday the 25th of November, and then they can sort of talk all this through and see what comes of it. But we're getting to the stage now where there's a load of just basically useless moaning on Facebook and other places
Just goes
about
round
what's
in
not.
circles.
It does. They're just people just howling at the moon, right? And then when you suggest that they need to get off their backsides and do something about it, oh well, yeah, and then that's it. All breaks down. Then they'll be moaning about nothing ever changes. So this is how you change it. If you want change, you've got to do something about it. That's the 10-8 proposal. The second one, and this is where I want to bring Duncan in here, is the thing about percussionists. Duncan, do you want to just take this up and explain what you think might be a way forward for this?
Thank you very much, Simon, Sandy, for your invitation to come on your podcast to talk about the deregulation of percussion. Just recently, we seem to have got a bit of a furore of letters and opinions about percussion. Now, I'm talking from experience. I spend an awful lot of time, especially around the area time, going to different bands just to help out and just to give them a different view of a piece and everything else. Every time I turn up to a band, I might be lucky if I get one percussionist. I might, I don't usually get any percussionists. Now, this is because I am working with bands in sections 4 and 3 and sometimes in 2. So basically, I am saying to an awful lot of people out there that a lot of bands do not have percussion of any sort. And usually, when they need percussion, they have to buy them in or, talk to their friends elsewhere. So my thoughts are we need to move into the 21st century. And what I'd like to see is put percussion deregulated, in other words, deregistered, because I feel it would be very helpful to the lower bands. Now, the people out there are going to jump at me and say, well, why do you need to do that? Our band's got 5, our band's got 6. Yes, if you look around the top section bands, most of the top section bands have got maybe 3, 4, 5. Some bands I know have 4 or 5 at every rehearsal.
Yeah. We know who they are as well.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's normal for them. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what's normal in the lower sections. They've got no percussion at all. And for every concert, they need to borrow somebody. They need to find someone.
So when you say deregulation of percussionists, what would the idea be? That percussionists could just play with multiple bands, or what? How do you see that work?
I feel that percussion could play with multiple bands. All right, if people out there feel that's not good, well, all right, I'll turn around and say maybe play with 2 or 3 bands. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is we should be helping banding full stop. And I think this is a really important way of doing it because there isn't enough percussion to go around.
Yeah, that's quite evident, yeah.
And really, percussionists, especially kit percussion players, not everybody wants to play in a brass band.
No.
Not everybody can read the music of a brass band. At the end of the day, they want to play in rock bands where they can earn money. Now, coming to money, even in brass bands, and I think it's because of shortages, percussion players charge money.
Mm-hmm.
They charge money for concerts. They don't come free gratis. As far as I'm concerned, percussionists are charging money. So why don't we deregulate it? if they're going to charge money, they're going to charge money anyway. And the lower section bands, sadly, will have to play that or don't have any percussion at all. I think this would also, now, this might be a bit controversial to people, but I think it might also help the panel. Because at the end of the day, we are there to choose music, and we are there to choose quality music and choose of our choice. But, we're having to look at the percussion requirements first. I'm not so sure that's helping banding. Why am I saying that? Well, I think that is, I think it's curtailing what the new composers want to do. Unless we give them strict, which I don't think we should be doing. I just think, they should compose what they want. And like I say, if they follow the European route, well, they've got about God knows how many percussion for virtually every piece. I don't know. What do you think out there? I don't know.
So from my point of view, so what Duncan's saying, I'm just, correct me if I'm wrong. If you've got, let's say, 4 or 5 percussionists, let's say with Black Dyke, Brighouse, Hammond, anybody, but they're only using 4 for the contest, one of them can go and help a lower section band or somebody else in that section because they're not registered.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying also that the better bands tend to, pick up youngsters who may be not ready for the top section just to add into their lists.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is maybe the top bands, maybe should, kind of help the low bands a little bit. Now, some people might say that maybe this is the wrong time to be talking about this in view of what has been chosen for the regional championships. What I would say is we are looking at the quality of music. And I also think we shouldn't entirely, and this is my thought only, the first thing we're looking at shouldn't be the percussion. I think so. Let's open it up into the 21st century. It's a solution, but it's not a solution everybody out there might like. But come on, talk about it.
Yeah,
now,
and that's
in local entertainment contests, I regularly go along for bits of a listen with my wife. Now, you regularly see a team of percussionists come on with band number 1, and then 2 of them might stay on with band number 2 or 3 or 4. It's already sort of happening. What we're saying is that we need to let this happen for the area contest so that more bands can get on stage and feel more complete. And we're making best use of the resources.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Simon. I think it's a simple solution, this, but I think there are people out there who will try and make it harder. And for me, it's okay. You can talk when you've got 3 percussion, but I know bands with no percussion. I also know bands in the top section with no percussion.
Yeah.
They have to buy them in. So, come on, let's make it enjoyable for everybody. Band is supposed to be enjoyable. When you've got to look for 5 percussion or 3 percussion or even 1 percussionist for every concert, because there just aren't them, I don't know if that's enjoyable for the band and conductor. And at the end of the day, all bands, I think, want percussion. So maybe we need to help each other.
Duncan,
Because at the minute,
I mean,
you know, just doing a quick record, we reckon we've got 80 top section bands in this country. Is that right?
it's more
Something
than
like
that,
that.
about 86, I
Yeah.
think.
Well, let's base it on 80. If there's 4 per band, that's 320 percussionists. That's just one section.
Mm.
Yeah,
And then you've got to go down to your first section, your second, third, and fourth. It's an enormous amount of percussionists, isn't it?
it is.
And
I,
you know, if there's less around, why don't we just share them?
Yes. You know, that's all I'm saying. You know, let's come into the 21st century. We're trying to improve banding. You know, I'm hearing all sorts about improving banding, you know, improving audiences, you know. So let's think about another area where I know brass bands are struggling.
Well, this is real food for thought, Duncan. As soon as Sandy told me that you two had been talking about it, I was well into it because I've been there and experienced what you're saying. And it's food for thought. Not like you say, not everybody will agree with us, but if you think that's a good idea, again, get on to your area reps. I presume you have, Duncan.
I have, yes, I've
Yep,
spoken to my area rep,
yep,
which is from the Yorkshire area.
yeah. So I'd just encourage people to have a think about that. There is other issues with percussion, which we are going to tackle in a future podcast. We've got a few guests coming on to talk about that. So in conclusion, Sandy.
yeah. Well, I mean, as usual in banding, there's a lot of complaining going on, mainly on social media, keyboard warriors, etc. But they're not offering any solutions
No.
for much of this. I mean, some of the stuff that we've been discussing at the panel recently, and I thought they were very measured and well thought out things. People don't seem to get the fact that before the 1970s there was no percussion hardly at all in bands, and then there was a sort of determined effort during the 80s and 90s to expand percussion, and it's coming back to bite us on the bum now, because you're getting a lot of these pieces written for 4 or 5 percussions, more sometimes, all sorts of exotic instruments that bands don't have, and it's hampering us as a panel. And there's been lots of complaints, and that's fine. Where are the solutions? So I think we're almost at a time now where either this 10.8 proposal or the percussion requirements that Duncan's mentioned, or anything else, you need to take these to your area representative for this meeting on Monday, the 25th of November, to be discussed and see if it can be moved forward. Because at the moment, we can't continue just to complain about the current state of play without offering potential improvements. And at the moment, whenever you try and get people to offer improvement, oh, that's not our job, that's up to somebody else. Well, it's time now to put up or shut up, I think. And
Absolutely.
if you think you want change, now is the time to make it happen. I've got to admit that when I found out about this proposal that was for change about the three qualifiers for the Albert Hall instead of 4, it sort of leaked out, sort of thing. I know it was in the rules when they were sent out and all that sort of thing, but it came to light, let's put it that way, a couple of days before the Albert Hall finals. But the meeting that was decided at took place in May. I didn't even know that there was a meeting taking place, which is probably my fault. But I would imagine that most member bands of the areas probably don't even know that there's a meeting on Monday, the 25th of November.
Could I say, Sandy?
Yeah.
I had a friend round the other day, just to spend the day with me, have a chat, and he's a brass band man through and through. And we talked about was he aware of meetings held by the areas committees? Now, he turned around and said to me, well, I've never heard of that in all the time
Right.
I've been involved. And that's when he said, well, that's when we've got these closed shops, because at the end of the day, why shouldn't we know?
Well, to be
why
fair,
don't they
Duncan,
tell everything?
to be fair to the area secretaries and the regional committees, whatever, I think they would probably, and quite rightly, argue it's not a closed shop. And if you want to put some proposals up, then yes. But he is right. Your friend is right in as much as it doesn't seem to be made general knowledge. I never see anything saying there will be a meeting on the 10th of June of the regional secretaries to discuss anything you want put forward. Please contact us by June the 1st and it'll be put on the agenda. I never hear of anything like that.
But so I think, these committees, they do a fantastic job organising all these area contests. But the thing is, if nobody's writing into them, they can't be expected to trawl social media for a groundswell of opinion.
No, they're not going to do that. And let's face it, the quality of some of the arguments on social media leaves a lot to be desired.
So really, we've got to encourage bands to write in their area secretaries via email so that it's official, that you're saying something official. All the emails are readily available. And it's the only way, whether we know whether there's meetings or not, it doesn't stop us at any time putting something in writing and saying, we think this, we think that. And then at least they've got something to discuss, haven't they?
We need to get them to either contact them on email or phone these people up and say, look, can you talk about this? What do you think of it? What are their thoughts? Have any other people talked to them about it? We need to make this a more open sort of forum for discussion, but I'm a bit sick of all this. It's fine to moan on Facebook. It means bugger all, right? Let's get in contact with the people who can change things and make decisions and see what the reaction is. If there's no appetite for change, fine, leave it, right? But then don't complain about something else that doesn't happen because you haven't done anything about it. That's the only way to do it. We know how to do it now. We know when the meeting is. You have to contact these secretaries and give them your ideas as member bands for improving things. So that, for me, that's the only way. You've got to get these issues on the agenda, but people have to be proactive, and let's not just be part of the problem. Let's be part of the solution. The member bands need to say what they want, and they have to do it. We know when this meeting is, Monday the 25th of November. We keep going on about it. Get something done before then, and let's see what the outcome is.
Yeah.
But if the outcome is that nobody contacted us, so we didn't discuss anything much at all, then I'm sorry. We'll just have to carry on picking test pieces as best we can. With a variety of percussion, because that's the way the music's written.
I still maintain, there is a big shortage. Let's not ignore it, and let's try and help everybody.
But we are being hampered now because there is a severe lack of percussionists. So how do we fix it? This is one idea. Bands need to discuss it and either go for it or discard it, but they cannot then keep complaining if they don't do anything about it.
No.
Yeah? Same with the 10-8 proposal, right? Doesn't stop anybody getting there, staying there, progressing. But the bands are going to have to vote for that.
Okay, guys. Duncan, many thanks for coming on this week to put that out there.
Thanks, mate.
I absolutely, for me, think it's a great idea. So this is a shorter podcast than normal. We'll put that out there. Please, bands, get your keypads out, and instead of pointing your moans to Facebook or whatever it is, get an email into your general secretaries for your area. It'll work wonders, I hope. Okay, so that's enough this week from Smith and Grezzy. We'll be back shortly. with the next one. In the meantime, if you want to send in your comments to myself and Sandy, it's Smith and Grezzy, the and is AND, @gmail.com. Thank you, everybody.